Hi, friends. Welcome back. I've been wanting to record today's episode for a while now because I talk to a lot of moms. Really incredible, hardworking, deeply caring, intelligent, just incredible women. And they are doing everything that they can think of with their limited time, limited energy to improve their health and well-being. And as they're doing everything that they can, they're really aware of what most wellness advice would be telling them to do. And they're really aware of where they're falling short. And if you're watching this, falling short is in air quotes, or if you're listening to it, just like they're falling short in air quotes because the wellness advice that they're being given is actually not meant or built for them, even if the person is saying it's meant for them. I'm here to debunk a few myths and to say that, Mama, you are not failing. You are not falling short. You're trying to follow advice that either has worked for you in the past or isn't actually aligned for the midlife season or isn't aligned for the reality of modern motherhood. Moms know they need to eat well. They're trying to eat well. They know they need to get movement in. They're trying to get into the gym when they can. They might be journaling or reading or podcasting or meditating. And yet they're still feeling depleted, still feeling emotionally overwhelmed, still feeling disconnected from themselves, from a deeper, steadier feeling of joy. And they're feeling disconnected from the version of themselves that feels most authentic because we're growing and changing and we really need supports to know how to stay connected to ourselves as we are evolving. And what I hear most often from the wonderful moms that I get to talk to, and this is the thing that breaks my heart a little bit every time I hear it, is that they think that their lack of well-being, their stress, their emotional overwhelm, their inability to follow wellness trends, they think that it's their fault. They think they just need more discipline, more consistency, more willpower. If they could just get it together, they would finally feel better. And I am here today to tell you that this is just simply not true. You have not been failing at wellness. You have been actually just doing it without the right framework for this season of your life. And when you have the correct framework, it changes everything. Today, I'm going to share with you exactly why most wellness advice fails midlife moms and what I've discovered in over 20 years working with women and in my own personal journey through midlife motherhood, what actually works. And not just for a few weeks or a few days, but in a way that genuinely transforms how you feel in your emotions, in your body, and in your life. So I already know you are ready to stop pushing through and start feeling truly vibrant, start savoring your life. So stick with me. I think this one might be for you. I want you to leave listening to this episode understanding what it takes to feel truly vibrant in your emotions, in your body, and in your life. And I already know that you are more than capable. I already know that you've been trying and that you're probably exhausted and confused or overwhelmed searching for what works. And my biggest hope is that we're shifting from adding more like self-care tasks to your plate. That's one of my pet peeves, but we're more thinking in the big picture, really trying to connect with and understand from a bird's eye view why what you've been doing might not be working and what to start doing instead. So let me start with this. Most wellness advice that I see being given to women, and that's usually these days in the form of podcasts or Instagram influencers or educators, is that wellness approaches for women and lumping in with just speaking to the midlife woman, lumping in mothers who, if you have a child at home, what you need, even if the wellness advice is sound, is a completely different approach. So most wellness approaches fail midlife moms because they're speaking in general about women's health or in general about what to do in midlife, but they're ignoring the crucial information that they are speaking to a mother who has extremely limited time and maybe even more limited brain space or energy to implement what is being said. Moms really need information that's really sensitive to the complicated logistical reality and the complicated emotional reality of being a mother. Also, most wellness advice focus mostly on like what to eat, what not to eat, that you should get to the gym and move your body and maybe some time management strategies or kind of mindset aspirational reframes, like thinking of different ways to think about the challenges. And these things, have their place, they matter, but they mostly just address the surface of what women and mothers want out of a well-being approach. They're not really going deep enough or touching the root. They're really denying meaningful education about how to navigate our inner worlds, which include our emotions, our thoughts, what we care about most deeply, what we're most afraid of, and our shame and our personal challenges. They're really ignoring how that inner world has a pretty big impact on our actions and our ability to implement lifestyle changes. So to me, it's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear well-meaning wellness advice. But if it, number one, ignores that it needs to be designed for a woman in midlife. This is a season where your body, your brain, and your emotional world are playing by entirely new rules. So you need an entirely new set of tools to help you navigate those changes. And then it's also nails on the chalkboard for me when wellness advice isn't designed specifically for motherhood, which, as we all know, is a season of limited time, consistent demand, and profound and beautiful identity shifts that co-occur as our child is evolving and growing. So the results that I hear from a lot of moms is that they just keep searching, they keep cycling through advice, they're trying on the Instagram reel of the week, and they're losing time and energy and feeling like we're failing and just kind of fluctuating between exhaustion and overwhelm. So my friend, I want you to hear me clearly. The real problem isn't your effort or your commitment. It's that the approach that you're trying on is not designed either for you as a midlife mother in this season, or it's outdated approach. It's something that you knew worked for you in the past, but is no longer working for you in this brain, in this body, and in this life with kiddos on board. I've shared bits and pieces of my personal story as I became a mother and started navigating the midlife changes, and I'll keep sharing those stories. But I experienced what I would say is a pretty drastic body and brain change as soon as I turned 40 years old. And one of the things I'm grateful for is that it was so drastic that it was like a full stop. Like the things that I had been doing postpartum and with a kiddo, even between like babyhood to toddlerhood, those things that what were working in that new life. I'm a mom now, postpartum, early childhood season, those things, which I had already adapted from pre-kids, were no longer working for me. I was feeling much more stressed, much more indecisive, much more anxious. I was having difficulty sleeping. My body composition started changing. My energy started plummeting. It was a really big health event for me. And I'm glad it was so drastic because it really required me to double down on the things that I know work well for emotional and mental health. It required me to research perimenopause and learn everything I could about the effects of fluctuating hormones on the female brain and body. And it invited me to create a whole host of tools and ultimately to develop the framework that I love sharing with you on this podcast because it was born out of my personal experience as well as over 20 years in clinical practice. So the bigger the pain, the bigger the urgency is to find a solution and create something new. And that's where the Vibrant Mom framework was born. And as I work with women in various formats and contexts, I have learned time and time again that the biggest bang for our buck is to learn how to develop a different relationship with our inner world. That real vibrance, real wellness doesn't start with what you do. It starts with how you relate to yourself from the inside out. And then the lifestyle changes start to follow suit. So this, my friend, is what I recommend for you if you are a mom over the age of 35 and still have kiddos in the home. The most effective path to feeling truly vibrant as a midlife mom is learning to relate to your inner world with skill, taking action that is truly aligned for the season, and finding a room and a relationship that can guide the way. If you are listening to this and you want to feel truly vibrant in your emotions, in your body, in your life, then you need those three things. Let's unpack all three. So the first, what do I mean by inner skill? So the first thing is we need to learn how to relate to our inner worlds with skill. This isn't about just calming down, constantly regulating your emotions. It's about developing a mature, confident, and integrated relationship with your emotional world. It's about investing in learning how to create an intimate relationship with yourself that allows your emotions to move through as information and wisdom rather than something to survive and suppress. Our inner worlds are complex. We are walking contradictions. We have lots of different, seemingly opposite feelings at the same time. All of our emotions, especially when they're intense, start to activate different beliefs about ourselves and habits and patterns and thinking and behaving. I recommend that you seek out expert emotional well-being frameworks and tools designed specifically for mothers and specifically for midlife that help you learn how to navigate this inner world with like next level skillfulness. The roles you play, the weight you carry, the stressors you're continually navigating, caring for children, caring for aging parents, trying to nurture partnerships or find a partner, investing in your career or your work in the world, trying to care for your kids as best as you can and learn how to nurture and guide them. This is all a heavy load and a huge lift. And so we're going to have some pretty significant emotional experiences that the hormonal changes and perimenopause just turns the dial up on. So when I'm Seeing the continued demand for stress management strategies for moms in midlife, I know that like the first thing that they really need is a framework that's highly effective to help them navigate and relate to their inner world with as much skillfulness as possible. This is the second thing that I would recommend. It's learning how to take truly aligned action with this season of your life. We really want to make sure we're cutting through the noise and only focusing on wellness practices that are specifically designed for our changing midlife bodies and brains, and that really take into consideration the reality of modern motherhood. So, not the habits that worked at 28, not advice designed for women without children living in the home, and not general emotional or mental health advice that doesn't take into consideration the hormonal shifts of perimenopause. We need to know what aligned action looks like in this really unique, this really beautiful, this really rich season. So to me, aligned action has to do with knowing what actions to prioritize for midlife motherhood. And then it also looks like having the emotional resiliency that when your plans get sidetracked by an illness in the family or an unexpected developmental change with your kid, and now you're needing to create a whole new parenting strategy from scratch, it feels like. We need to have the emotional resiliency skills to navigate those fits and starts so that we can keep taking slow but consistent and steady steps in the direction of our own health and well-being. And then the third piece that I recommend that every midlife mom take on as they're cutting out the noise of general wellness advice and really centering their own learning and well-being in the season is to find a room and or a relationship to provide more guidance and community along the way. A lot of moms I talk to go through relationship changes, friendship changes, and even if the relationships or friendships haven't changed, sometimes we go through seasons where we can't really connect with our friends on a regular basis, or we connect with them, but it's not for long enough or in the right context for those conversations to go deeper and to be as nourishing and potent as possible. But really what's required is to prioritize in your schedule, just like you're going to prioritize your kids' events, your kids' dentist appointments, your partner's work travel, like whatever it is you're prioritizing in your schedule. I really recommend that you, my midlife mama friend, also prioritize finding a expertly facilitated community or expertly facilitated course that will help you learn the skills and tools you need to feel truly well and fully lit up and able to cut through the chaos and just really enjoy this really special season of life. That is one of the reasons why I created the Vibrant Mom Collective is I have the clinical expertise and the lived experience and the Vibrant Mom framework that will get you there so much faster than you ever could alone. If everything I've shared today is resonating, if you recognize yourself in this and you're ready to stop pushing through and start feeling truly vibrant in your emotions, your body, and your life, I'd love to invite you to explore the Vibrant Mom Collective. It's where we do this work together. You'll get expert guidance, proven frameworks, and a community of women who truly get it. It is a full year of transformation designed specifically for moms navigating midlife, and I think it's unlike anything else out there. I'll make sure to put all the links in this podcast episode so you can check it out. Maybe drop me a comment in the which of these three recommendations do you resonate with needing most right now? Is it that deep well of resource to help you learn how to relate to your inner world with skill? Is it getting an expert to help you understand what aligned action actually looks like in this midlife season of motherhood? Or is it finding that room or that relationship with a mentor and a guide or a provider that can really help you to customize what you're learning and implement it really strategically and wholeheartedly into your life? Which one are you craving the most? I can't wait to read your comments. Thank you for listening, and I can't wait to see you all next week.